Thank you for joining the ADEA AADSAS webinar, Interview Tips from 7 U.S. Dental Schools. The American Dental Education Association is pleased to offer this live webinar for applicants, featuring Harvard School of Dental Medicine, University of Louisville School of Dentistry, Indiana University School of Dentistry, New York University College of Dentistry, A.T. Still University, Arizona and Missouri campuses, Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey School of Dental Medicine, University of the Pacific Arthur A. Dugoni School of Dentistry. Today's webinar is exclusively for applicants who have submitted at least one application to ADEA AADSAS. The webinar is being recorded for use by health professions advisors. The webinar will not include a question and answer session due to limited time. Today, our first presenter is from Harvard School of Dental Medicine.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Hannah Petrakis. I'm the Director of Admissions. Let me enable my webcam here. Thanks for joining us today. To give you a little bit, to show you what I'm going to talk about a little bit for our interview process. We have the selection, scheduling, the interview, the supplemental application, the day of, post-interview, and deciding on a program. I certainly hope this is helpful. So scheduling the interview, we generally receive about 1,000 applications, and historically we've interviewed about 100 applicants per cycle. Applications are read by a subcommittee of the admission committee, and every application that's completed by the deadline is read and read holistically. If you're selected for an interview, our DMD admissions coordinator, Lizzie Anderson, who's very nice, will call to schedule it with you. And if it's not a convenient time to speak, please feel free to let her know. We understand you might be in class or working, and Lizzie will give you a few dates to choose from, typically the next available interview date, and we interview from mid-September through most of February. If you have an opportunity to interview sooner than later, I do recommend it. We want to have as many interviews conducted prior to December 1 as possible to maximize the number of acceptances you might receive in December 1. Now, that's not to say that we don't still interview strong applicants in January and February. Some of our strongest are interviewed during those months. HSDM interviews are held from 9 to 2:30 on Mondays and Fridays, and we have up to 6 applicants each day. So I'm with a student in Vanderbilt Hall, which is where our first-year students stay, dental and medical. And if you can, I recommend it. I suppose it can be a little bit scary, and everyone's schedule is different, but it's really the best way to learn what it's like to be a student at Harvard School of Dental Medicine. And don't worry about arriving late. Just let your host know when to expect you, and they'll be fine. After your interview is scheduled, we'll send you a confirmation email, and this will include the supplemental questionnaire. We tell you can send it back up until the day before your interview, but I recommend sending it back sooner than later because this will ensure that there's sufficient time for your interviewers to take a look at it, read it, and get to know you better prior to the meeting with you. All our interviews are open file. We'll also ask you to bring a hard copy of the supplemental questionnaire with you and to request an official transcript from your high school so we can verify any AP credit you took in fulfillment of our prerequisite courses. All right. This is what I think the interview schedule is going to look like this fall. Looking at the time, so it's 9 to 2:30. If you need to leave by a certain time, just let us know. People have plans and trains, and we'll work around it as best we can. Our admission committee is comprised of 20-plus faculty, alums, and 4th-year students. And I recommend before your interview day that you become familiar with the school that you'll be visiting, with their website, with their mission, and their vision, if those are available. You should also have a list of questions ready to go about the program in school. Be sure that you're comfortable talking about your background and experiences, especially anything that appears on your application. I find that practicing out loud answers to questions helps the flow of the answers go more smoothly. You're going to have a bunch of interviews. Some of the questions will be the same. It's really easy for answers to sound rehearsed. So be mindful of this if you want to try to avoid your answers sounding canned if possible. And if you're selected for an interview at HSDM, It means we think that you'll be able to perform academically just fine. We're really looking to get you to know you as a person beyond what's on the paper, to assess your interpersonal skills. If you'll do well in a small class, there's only 35. If you're a good fit for the mission of the school. Interviews are one-on-one. You can see that there are 2 here in bold, and they are up to 45 minutes long. The mission committee members are really pleasant and down to earth. I think you'll enjoy speaking with them as much as you can in sure it's a stressful environment. My best advice to you is to be your most authentic self. Don't be afraid to show some personality. It will help us to get to know you better and hopefully to remember you better as well. But also remember that the whole time you're visiting the school to act professionally, because you never know, anyone you meet can be an influencer, the guy that checks in at the front desk. We're comfortable, sensible shoes. I saw a lot of things last year, and there was a lot of walking. We want to make sure that your feet don't hurt. All right, post-interview. I don't get as many thank you notes as you think, so don't forget to send one of those to your interviewers. And if you're admitted to the program on December 1, when dental schools release their first round of admissions, I will call you myself to congratulate you. We do leave seats open until we have read all applications that were completed by the deadline, so if you aren't called on December 1, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get admitted. We typically fill our class in early February, and once the class is filled, we create a priority, or a wait list rather, and then we notify all the wait listed applicants that they are on it. We've always gone to a wait list historically, and we won't release the wait list until our students matriculate at the end of July and beginning of August. Lastly, it's important to choose a program because you're going to be happy there, not just because it's a less expensive option. Dental school is expensive no matter where you go. However, it is a program with high earning potential. And one loan payment option to learn about when you meet with our Director of Financial Aid is the pay-as-you-earn option. And with this program, you never pay more than 10% of your salary towards your loans, and as you earn more is going towards your loans. And it's really helpful in managing your finances the first few years when you're not earning quite as much. You also want to make sure that you're at the school with the best fit for your goals. Do you want to go right to the be a general dentist right away? If so, a traditional dental school might be a good fit for you. If you're interested in the science behind dentistry and perhaps specializing in an area, HSDM or a non-traditional dental school may be a better fit. And this is our last slide. This is the funny photo that our class of 2020 took following the white coat ceremony. Our contact information is there. Please let us know how we can help you, and we wish you luck during this process. Everybody still there?
Thank you. Our next presenter is from the University of Louisville School of Dentistry.
Hi, my name's Diane Foster. I'm trying to get in front of the camera here. Emily, can you see my slide presentation?
I cannot.
Okay. This was working when we checked it before. Bring it over to. Now can you see my slide presentation? Can you see it now?
I am unable to see it, Diane.
Did that help? Did that help?
Yes.
Very good. Well, I want to thank all the students for tuning in today to learn more about the University of Louisville. Here at the University of Louisville, we take 44 Kentucky residents and 76 non-residents, and our invitations will be going out before too long. We interview from August 28th through mid-November as our pre-signing day, decision day interviews, and then we interview some in January and February. But nonetheless, if getting your application in early is important, so we can start to look at it now. Changing my slide here, what to expect on interview day. Our steps were very similar to the presentation from Harvard in that we email you an invitation. You do need to reply to that invitation and say that yes, you will attend, or you can call our office and reschedule. That's not seen as a negative, and we will do our very best to accommodate you. At the end of the slide presentation, I have some contact information where you can call or email us with any of your questions. We do answer those within 24 to 48 hours, and we'll be happy to talk to you, but we do prefer emails because then we can give you a written answer to your question and make sure that we understand it. We do not have a supplemental application at Louisville. However, if you're invited to interview, we may send you a background information form that gives us a little more specific information, and also a set of our minimum technical standards that say what's expected of you. And we'll also send you an email that asks what you'd like for lunch, and if you have any special need any special dietary restrictions that you have for that day. So things that you should expect from the University of Louisville when you get here are warm welcomes. You'll be welcomed over and over again. Hospitality galore. We hope from the time you come into the airport or come into the city that you'll experience the warm hospitality in Louisville. A lot of friendliness, a lot of happy students, some caring faculty and staff, and that you experience our busy, active community where the cost of living is low and the quality of life is high here in Louisville. And then I put down there as a little joke and talk of teeth, horses, bourbon, and food. When you get here to Louisville to visit us, we'll tell you more about why those things are talked about a lot here at our dental school. I thought one of the things you might want to know is what to wear on interview day. I have a picture of some of our applicants that were at a national ASDA conference, and what they're wearing here is what you might see our applicants wear. Something business professional wear. Again, as my colleague mentioned there before, comfortable shoes, because you will get a tour of the school and of the clinics. And just your smile is a very important thing to wear. I wanted to show you our interview day agenda. We start early, about 8 o'clock, so that we can pack everything in. We do have our interview days on Mondays, so that hopefully you won't have to miss very much school, and maybe only one day at the most. So we start at 8 o'clock. Our staff welcome you and sign you in, take your photograph, and then I do some welcome and introductions. Our dean usually stops in to speak to you as well, and he will be here every time that he's in the building. He will want to meet with you, Dr. Jerry Bradley, who is our dean. Dr. Sherry Babbage, an alumnus of the school and a member of the admissions committee, will talk to you about our program. She and I will explain different things that we feel make the University of Louisville unique, and things that you might be interested in, that you're looking for. You'll have 2 one-on-one interviews, one with a faculty, at least one with a faculty, and probably the other one with one of our D4 students. We greatly value the input of our students. They are living the dental school life here at Louisville, and they know what it takes to be a good student here. We split the groups into Group A and Group B, and while Group A is interviewing, it's about a 30-minute one-on-one interview. While Group A is interviewing, Group B is taking a tour, and then I talk to the students a little bit about what it's like to live in Louisville. After that, we switch, and Group B gets interviews, and Group A gets the tour and talk of living in Louisville. The interviews are friendly and personal, we really have a commitment to getting to know our applicants personally. We've already read what's in your application and looked at you very holistically. We judge about 60% of your score on your cognitive factors. That's like your grades and your dental admissions test scores and things like that, things that can be measured easily. And the other 40% comes from your letters of recommendation, your experiences, and your interview. So that interview is very important. At 11:30, we take a break and we show you some videos of our students and things that they've done. At 12 o'clock, you get to have lunch. It's usually Chick-fil-A. And you have lunch with our D3 students who are starting into the clinics and have a lot to tell you about everything they've experienced in their first 2 years. At 1 o'clock, our excellent financial aid officer, Ms. Barbara Dagnan, explains how you can finance your education, what options we have for you, and all the things that she can do to assist you, especially if you're going to apply for some kind of scholarship or military funding. And at 2 o'clock, the interview day concludes. All of our staff are on hand those days. They're listed there by name, and they're here to serve you. From the time you come in, we say we get to be with you the 2 happiest days of your life, the day you get into dental school and the day you graduate. So that's our job. Some interviewing tips. Know yourself. You are now building your profile of what you will be on that interview day. Know what experiences have prepared you for the rigors of dental school. Know why the University of Louisville School of Dentistry is the best place for you, why you should get an acceptance here at our school. Research this school thoroughly, backwards and forwards. What do we have to offer you that you're looking for? Always be honest and be prepared to explain who you are. That's what we really want to know. We want to know who you are. There's certain things we're looking for: team players, students that want to help each other, people that are sincere about the profession. Be prepared to explain to us why you are those things. Practice being in control of your emotions. Prepare yourself. There may be a few things that are difficult, either in happy ways or sad ways, that you might have to explain about yourself. Be prepared to explain those with controlled emotions, which are, of course, necessary when you're in the dental practice. And so that's what the committee is looking for. That's one of the strengths that they're looking for. And above all, be humble and sincere if you really are. Be yourself. That's how you're going to find out where you belong. It's kind of a speed dating process, so just be yourself. And my little quote there, remember that there's love in Louisville. You'll find some of the warmest, most welcoming people you've ever met here at our school.
Diane, if I might say, there, in the essence of time, if you could wrap things up in the next few seconds, we would appreciate that.
Be happy to do that. Had a few things there that you shouldn't do, but I know you're not going to do that. Just ask yourself if you belong here with our students. And here's where you can contact us. We prefer emails sent to DMD AADSAS@louisville.edu. And you can always call us at 502-852-5081. We have information sessions once a month, usually on a Friday. Start at 9 o'clock, and just call and make an appointment to come and join us. We'd love to show you our school. Thanks, Emily.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Our next presenter is going to be from Indiana University.
Hi, can you see me, Emily?
I cannot see your screen yet, no.
Okay. Can you see it now?
No. Were you prompted to share your screen?
No.
Let's see.
Where would that be?
Okay, I resent it to you.
Okay. Show my screen. Can you see it now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Can you see me?
No.
Okay. I'm having a bad hair day, so. Okay. How about now?
Yes. We're up and running.
Okay. I apologize. Hi, everybody. I'm Melanie Peterson. I am the Associate Dean for Admissions and Student Affairs at the Indiana University School of Dentistry. And the first slide I have up is of basically the mission statement of the School of Dentistry. And that's important because basically, ultimately, the overall intent of the interview is to determine not only if you are qualified, but also to determine if you are a good fit for the school and its mission and its culture. Applications are reviewed as they arrive from AADSAS, and they become complete for our purposes. That would be letters of recommendation, etc. We do not have a supplemental application per se. There is a fee that has to be paid, and you can read about that online. The initial interview entails validating that all prerequisites have either been taken or are planned. And sometimes on applications I see that the planned courses are not included, and that prompts me to have to send an email. So it's nice if you can go ahead and put those courses there so that we'll know that you will have everything. The applications are pre-screened by the admissions committee members, and selections are made for those to be interviewed according to prescribed admissions committee guidelines. This year, the interview offers will be made in 3 waves. If an interview offer is not made in the first wave, don't panic. I know everybody talks to everybody else. It does not necessarily mean that you're not going to get an interview offer. And the admissions office does make every effort to keep you up to date on what's going on with your application. The interview format itself, they're scheduled on weekdays. It could be Monday through Friday. There's not a particular day. You have a choice between a morning or an afternoon interview. It's based on a first come, first serve. Some people like morning, some afternoon. Presentation will cover the dental school history, curriculum, financial aid, and so on. There are student panels. Diane mentioned about wearing comfortable shoes. I can't emphasize that enough because there will be a lot of walking. And it's okay not to wear black. I know everybody tends to want to wear black, and black is all well and good, but you can wear something a different color as well. There'll be tours, and you'll have the opportunity to meet with students, current students, and ask them questions about the school and their experience as a dental student here. The interview format itself, every year at the conclusion of the admission cycle, the committee meets to debrief about the cycle and consider any modifications in the guidelines for the following cycle. This year a change has been made from 2 15-minute interviews with individual faculty members to 1 20-minute interview with 2 faculty members. Students are not allowed to interview for legal reasons having to do with Indiana University. So, but we do appreciate comments from our students who give tours and so forth and who interact with you. Regardless of the questions that are asked of you, the follow-up questions are really critically important. You can know the question, but it's really difficult to give a canned answer. I think the follow-up questions are the ones that really indicate who you are and what you're about. It's always advisable to think for a moment before you give an answer and structure your responses before going on a rambling walk through the woods. Sometimes interviewers can become frustrated if you start on a ramble and you talk too much, and then they don't get the opportunity to ask follow-up questions. That sometimes doesn't sit too well with them. On the flip side, you want to avoid the abyss of silence where you're sitting there and you've answered with a one-sentence response and you're sitting there looking at your interviewer and you're both feeling a little awkward. So the ability to the ability to craft compelling and structured responses in a communicative manner is really the key to a successful interview. Our to your personal statement, letters of recommendation, and extracurricular activities, and so on, they do not have access to DAT and GPA information. Occasionally, a reference will mention academic record in the letter, so the interviewer might have some inkling of how you've done academically, but if you bring it up, it's fair game for them to ask about it. But just remember that the purpose of the interview is really to focus on the more non-cognitive factors of the interview. What makes you tick? Why do you want to go to dental school? Those kinds of things. So again, the follow-up questions that the interviewers ask are really present the key to finding out the information that they want to about you. All of the information about you comes to fruition in the selection meeting. This year, for the first time, Indiana will make all of its decisions on December the 1st. There will be no spring interview cycle. So we're doing a very condensed interview cycle this time. If you have any questions about Indiana, any information about the city, Indianapolis is a very sports-oriented city. So if you're really into sports, it's a mecca for that kind of thing. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call, email, oasamail@iupui.edu, and this is our website. Thank you for listening, and good luck.
Thank you so much. Our next presenter is from New York University.
Hi, Emily. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Eugenia Mejia. I'm the Assistant Dean of Admissions at NYU College of Dentistry. Welcome. What I'm going to share with you today is we start our interviews in September. From September through March. It has no relevance of whether you apply June 1st or whenever you apply. You will be scheduled to an interview pending on our own individual process. What we do ask of you is that if you're invited for an interview, that you quickly respond to our interview invite, that prior to calling us, that you check your flights. If you are being interviewed in any school near our school, we will gladly try to accommodate you. You will need to either call us or send us an email. Once your interview is scheduled, you will get an email confirming the date and time and what to expect the day of. We would also like you to email us a passport-size photo for the day of, so we have it the day of your interview, or you can bring it with you on the day of interview. All interviews are scheduled for 8 o'clock, but we start interviewing as early as 7:15. So students are interviewed on a rolling basis, depending on the time that they arrive and when the faculty gets here. The interview day, and prior to coming to the interview day is what do you wear to our interview? Comfortable shoes. We have seasons in New York, so, dress appropriately. And we do expect everybody to just be in business wear. You don't have to wear, ladies don't have to wear a suit. You can wear a professional dress, and that would be fine. Color is also fine. When you come in, we're on the first floor. You must check in with the security. Keep in mind that the minute you step foot on our campus, you're being observed and people will give us feedback. It's just kind of the way that things go. Once you come into the building, the receptionist will give you a name tag. You will get an interview folder that will have data information on financial aid, what to expect during the day. There will be a quick supplemental form, to update your address that will be in the folder. If you bring any guests, we will also host them, and they can wait in the waiting room throughout the morning if they like, or just for a little bit and then leave. It's up to them. And we will try to accommodate, whoever, your parents or whoever it is you're bringing on that particular day. Once you arrive here, you will be in a conference room. There will be a light breakfast. We will have yearbooks from the last 5-10 years. We have information about our global outreach programs. We have booklets about our research day, and kind of the abstracts that you will be seeing. And then once you're completed, you sit there in the waiting room and wait to be called for your interview. If you have any academic updates, give it to the receptionist, or you give it to the faculty when they are reviewing your application. I just wanted to kind of go back a little bit. When we invite you for the interview, we do not have hotel accommodations, but we will make some suggestions in terms of hotels in the area for you to have. The interview. So everybody gets an interview with one faculty. Some of our faculty are purely research oriented, and some of them are clinical. So be prepared. If you have written on your application that you enjoy research and you happen to interview with a researcher, be prepared to give details about your experience with research. So anything is fair game. When you have written anything on your application, it is fair game to ask you. So be prepared to discuss if you have had any fluctuation in grades. Is there anything that you want to share with us that you just want to highlight? This would be the time to do that. Our interviews are meant to be so that we can get to know you. We've read your application. We know what the academic credentials are, the extracurricular. We just want to see you in person. We want to know that you are interested in dentistry and why we would be a good fit for you. So it is as much your responsibility as it is ours to try to figure out, whether you're a fit for our program. We are one of the largest dental schools in the United States. We offer a variety of different programs, and we provide a lot of attention to our students. But it's really about you also feeling comfortable. If you're not from the New York City area, you may want to ask questions about, what is it to live here? Any transition questions that you may have, any concerns that you may have. This is the key. This is the time to be asking. Like I said before, the faculty will meet with you as you come in. Once you have completed your half-an-hour interview with the faculty, they will write up a recommendation, and then you will meet with one of our admissions team. One of our admissions team is given a list of, has a range of the alphabet, and they become your admissions advocate. So this will be an opportunity for you to share with the admissions team, if you forgot to ask a question during the interview, is there anything else you want to add? Why would you really be interested in NYU? Is there, any concerns that you have? This is a good time to do that. So I think that everybody really needs to come prepared with a question. When you interview and you have no questions about our program, it raises a flag. But I also caution on not sort of repeating what we have stated in our website. So just be genuine about what you're really interested in. If you're interested in our outreach programs, tell us that. If you're interested in postgraduate programs, tell us that. But this is the time that, we want to get the experience that you're interested in. You're also looking for the best program that there is available for you. After both interviews, you will be sitting in this waiting area, and, you're observed from the minute you get here to the minute you leave. So in the waiting area, we sort of expect you to speak to the other applicants. These are people that you might be seeing at other interviews. We would prefer that, we notice if you're on your cell phone, and it speaks a little bit about interpersonal styles and communication. So we hope that during this time you're not on your cell phone. At the Q&A, what we try to do is give you a broad overview of the program. This is where we discuss the academics, the postgraduate, the rotations we have. We discuss preparation for the boards. We try our best to give you the global, holistic look of our program. We also talk about financial aid services and what that looks like. There is a printout, there's a handout in your interview folder that has some information about the ADEA financial calculator. We provide you that information in print, but we also talk about it and encourage you to ask questions. This might be a time where you may want to ask if we offer scholarships and what's the mechanism for that. So this is a good time that any question that you may have asked your faculty, and because they are, in the research department, they may not know about student life, this would be a good time to ask these questions. If you've read something on Student.net that is, that you want to check to make sure that this is correct, this is where, this is the time that you do so. Again, our goal is that when you leave here, you have a good sense of what our program is, that you have no questions left. Nothing is silly, nothing is repetitive. This is your time. We value your time and your interest in our program. After the Q&A, you will go on tour. Our school has 2 buildings, so you will come to the first building, which is basically where the classrooms are and our study area. And then you will need to go across the street and see all of our undergraduate clinics and the bench lab and the simulation lab. On your screen, you're looking at, on the left-hand side where the number 6 is, it's one of our operatories in the clinics, and on the right-hand side is our simulation lab. So, expect to be given a tour in a small group. We usually have 10 to 12 or up to 15 students a day interviewing, and what we try to do is the tour guides will split you in small groups so that they can answer your questions and really sort of make sure that you get a good sense of what the school is. So you will be going on tour after that.
If you could wrap up because of time, we would appreciate it.
All there. The tour will conclude with lunch, an opportunity to discuss, anything you want, curriculum, the life of our students. The interview day ends at lunchtime, and we will get back to you at December 1st or rolling admissions after that. But this is where we also have sometimes a dental hygienist come and sit in with you because they're part of our curriculum. But this is how the day begins. This is our contact information. We appreciate emails. We do answer the phones. But if you have any questions, please email us at dentaladmissions@nyu.edu. And don't get nervous if you don't get called early for an interview. It just takes time for us to review and invite students for interviews. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Our next presenter is a representative of A.T. Still University.
There we go. Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me. Yes, my name is David Kennecke. I'm the Assistant Vice President for A.T. Still University for admissions. And I'm here representing 2 schools, our Arizona School of Dentistry and Oral Health and our Missouri School of Dentistry and Oral Health. One is in Mesa, Arizona, and the other one is in Kirksville, Missouri, from where I'm talking with you currently. So those are some pictures of the schools. You can tell which one is which. The one on the right is the school in Missouri, and the one on the left is the school in Arizona. So the schools have a lot of similarities. So I'll talk about kind of in a big picture, and then we'll get into each individual school's interview processes. Both schools are very public health oriented, and both schools have rotations through community health centers all across the nation. So it's important you know that, because anytime you interview with a program, it's going to be important that you have some knowledge of the program and understand what you're getting into. Just because you get an interview invite doesn't mean you have to answer all of them, just the ones you want that you think you have a good fit with. So some interview tips. These are going to be very similar to the rest of the schools. My colleagues have also said dress is very important. That first impression means a lot. The second, third, and fourth, and fifth impressions means even more. So They definitely show up early. I'll give you a schedule of our interview days. Please don't bring your cell phone. Just leave that in your car or with whoever, the guest that whoever brings you. Be prepared to answer some situational questions. We're starting to get into that to see how you would answer and how you think on your feet, things like that. Again, as my other colleagues have said, anything that you put in your application is fair game for us to ask. Make sure, again, you research the school that you're looking at and be prepared to have questions and practice the interview session. So specifically for our Arizona school, you will have a 2-on-1 faculty to candidate interview. There are going to be 2 faculty members asking you questions for part of the interview day. There's also incorporated a situational mini MMI interview, which there are 3 timed independent interviews with standardized patients. So they give you a situation, a couple minutes to read. You will go into the room and talk to the standardized patient. And it's not about specific dental stuff. It's more about how you would answer. What if your patient is upset? What if you're, they're upset because your staff treated them rudely, or something a little more broadly based, not anything specifically dental related that you would need to know. Also at FASDO, we're going to start incorporating some D3 and D4 students into the interviews. They're going to show you some of their clinical experiences and give you a better idea of what it's like in those years as well. In the interview day, we do a group exercise. We usually start off with that. So, excuse me, the group is 8 students per session, and what we do is we split you up and we give you a question, and that group of 4 will create an answer to that scenario, and then you bring it back and you will present to the other 4. Basically, that is to see how you get along with other people, how you relate to others in a group type of setting, because our learning atmosphere, our learning curriculum is very group-based. Be prepared to answer the question, why our school, why ASDO, why MOSDO? As my other colleagues said, it's very important to have a knowledge of the school itself so that you know where you're going. We also incorporate some presentations so that you get to know the school a little better, because one of the reasons we do the interview is not only for us to get to know you, but for you to get to know our school as well. So we're going to present and kind of show off some of the assets we have in the school. Dean's welcome. The dean will speak at the ASDO program, and all of our programs have a campus tour. You can see there's a brief or a broad schedule. You'll start off with a dean's welcome and admissions briefing. Then we go into the group exercise. We will feed you lunch and a campus tour, and then you'll do your interviews and your MMI presentations, and that lasts anywhere from 8 a.m. all the way to about 1:30. And we do that every Monday from September through February and sometimes into March. So just as the other schools have said, December 1st is our first accept date. We don't accept the whole program, the whole class at that time. It's about 60%. And then after that, we do a rolling admissions all the way through our February interview dates. Here's our specific interview tips for MOSDO is a 1-on-1 faculty to candidate ratio. And you will also interview separately with a staff member. So there's a 30-minute interview with faculty and a 30-minute interview with staff. And we also are trying to incorporate, because our community clinic is in St. Louis, Missouri, we may zoom in some of those faculty members from St. Louis. We haven't done this yet. This will be new for this year. We're trying to iron out some of the details on that. Again, situational questions with specific answers. We do a group exercise in Missouri as well. And again, same as we said for Arizona, be prepared for the why MOSDO. And we also have presentations and a dean's message and campus tours. And there's the MOSDO, a brief MOSDO interview day schedule. We're still tweaking that as far as when the dean's welcome will be. Our dean is in our St. Louis campus, so we're trying to see what days he will be on campus here for interviews. Some of the admissions requirements, they're pretty standard across the board for most of the schools. So once you have those admissions requirements and those minimum GPAs and everything, we will send you a secondary application. And once you send the secondary application, your letters, and you meet all those standards that again, our admissions committee has set up for us, we review your application and we'll send you an invite to the interview. And what it is, it's a link that goes into our application system, our AMP, it's called AMP system. So you'll get a link into AMP. It's also where you fill out the secondary application. So it's all kind of nice. It's right in there in the same computer system. So we'll go ahead and get you a day to schedule. And as I said, with the Arizona campus, the interviews are Monday morning and Tuesday afternoon. And they are half-day interviews. And for the Missouri campus, we interview on Thursday. And again, we'll have a morning session and then an afternoon session with that as well. And we do, for both campuses, again, we interview from September through February and into March a little bit. And both campuses are, again, December 1st is our first accept date, and then we do a rolling admissions after that. A lot of the same things that my colleagues have mentioned are true for the Missouri campus. Be prepared, dress well. It's really a chance to get to know you as a candidate and your fit for our school. So we want you to know what you're getting into, and then we want to get to know you as well. So there's our contact information. I hope I didn't go over my time. Thank you very much for letting me present to you all today, and nice to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. The next presenter will be from Rutgers School of Dental Medicine.
Can you see me, Emily?
Yes, I can. I can see your screen.
Okay, so I can put it, is this okay?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Rosa Chaviano Moran. I am the Associate Dean for Admissions at Rutgers School of Dental Medicine. In the last slide, I will be providing all my contact information. A little bit about Rutgers School of Dental Medicine, a little bit about who are our students and how did they get here. Pretty much our selection process, I want to clarify, I know that we are a state institution, but for New Jersey, there is no such thing as a residency requirement. As a matter of fact, we also accept Canadian educated and international students that have been educated in the U.S. Are also considered and are accepted into our program. Another little thing that I wanted to put here regarding legacy, we value our alumni and our people that have gone through our program, but a lot of people think that, oh, because I'm a legacy or because I'm from New Jersey, you get a special consideration. No, we look at everyone the same way. Everyone is afforded the same opportunity. A little bit more about our selection process. We implement a holistic file review from day one. Once we receive our mailings from the AADSAS application, letting us know that your application has been verified, then we start our screening in a holistic approach. Of course, we are going to look at the academic trends because it is important for us to see what have you struggled with. Are there any issues? Did you start very weak and then all of a sudden got it all together and were able to navigate through the curriculum successfully? Sometimes we see the opposite. We see that you start academically very strong and then you start to struggle with the sciences a little bit. So this is something that will be very, very important to the admissions committee. This holistic file review is not just performed by one person. We have a committee of 17 people. One of those people is myself. I do not vote, but I am involved. I am involved with the academic from the screening process from the very beginning, and I also do interviews, even though I am the dean of admissions. Something else that's important in the selection process, some of our applicants will have committee letters or recommendations, and some of their letters will be from individual faculty. We understand not every school has a committee of science professors that put these composite recommendations together. So either way, it is okay for us, just as long as we have, when it comes from individual faculty, we are going to require at a minimum 3 letters of recommendation. Once we go through this holistic file review and everything seems to be in place, and you look as an applicant that can be a very successful candidate and hopefully a student in our program, that you will be contacted electronically and will be offered and scheduled for an interview. A little bit before we get to the interview, just want to share with you 2 pictures here of what to wear and what is considered unacceptable. Looking at the picture from what to wear, we understand that this is very, everybody's dressed dark, and that doesn't necessarily need to be that way, but it's really to give you guidance on what we are looking for. I'm not interested in seeing any type of piercings or tattoos or anything that you use to express yourself. That is fine in the outside world, but please, when you come for an interview, we expect you to dress and act professionally. So a little bit about the interview day. I want to share the schedule with you. We start at 8 o'clock. You are welcome, because we do like for people to start getting here early. So anytime before 8 o'clock, it's okay to be here. We will start with a breakfast where you will meet and have breakfast with our faculty and our student ambassadors. Very similar to other dental schools, our student ambassadors are not involved in the interview process per se. However, they do interact with you. They spend many hours with you, and they do provide feedback for us regarding your behavior, the way the candidate acts while they're in the going through this interview day. So everyone gives feedback regarding the participants of the interview. Interviews begin at 9 a.m. And I'll talk a little bit more about the interview, but I just wanted to share with you what the day looks like. And pretty much around 1 o'clock, the day ends after we're giving you a few presentations and also a tour of our facilities. So what about the interview? Rutgers School of Dental Medicine, our interview takes place on a half day. As you saw in the previous slide, we start at 8 o'clock and end by 1 o'clock. We provide a personal interview. It's conversational style. We do have a holistic, oh, sorry, I did something to I don't know what I did. Wow. Emily, did you lose me?
I cannot see your screen anymore.
Okay, I'm sorry. What did I do? What about now? I don't know what I did. Wow, I don't know what I did. I apologize. Should I end? I don't know what to do. I somehow got out of the webinar, and I'm so sorry.
That's okay. If you can get back in, if we can have Stan go, and if there's some time at the end, otherwise we can share with everybody by email the last piece. Would that be okay?
Yes, I'm sorry. So I have to log in again, correct? Wait.
I don't.
Yeah, go ahead. Have Stan, and I'll figure it out.
All right. Thank you, Rosa. All right. Our next presenter is from the University of the Pacific.
Well, good morning, afternoon, everybody. My name is Stan Constantino. I am the Director of Admissions at the University Pacific School of Dentistry in San Francisco, California. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to us. So I'm hopeful that this is certainly something that will be useful for everyone. So as you've heard in the previous school presentation, so our missions and goals are somewhat identical. So here at the Dugoni School, we also want to find the best and brightest students who not only embody our vision and humanistic culture, but also our core values. So it makes it a little difficult to level the playing field, but the interview process is certainly helpful in finding those specific students that we want. So to give you an idea of our timeline, being that we're the only 3-year program in the nation, so a 4-year program squeezed into 3 years, our admissions timeline starts a little earlier and is more on a faster track than compared to most. So here's an overview of our admissions timeline. We open up in June, and it's when we begin reviewing applications, and we begin interviewing in September. December, as you all already know, acceptances are given out at December 1st. And then in January, our interviews continue. And in most cases, these positions are for alternate spots. In February, our deadline is that very first day in February. In March is when we conclude interviews, and in April is when we notify our applicants that the cycle has ended. So how do we choose our students to interview? So what we do is when we review files, as Rosa just mentioned, we utilize a holistic review of the application as well. So it's a given that we'll look at the academics to ensure that you all can get through the program. But we're also looking at life experience, your professional academic potential, as well as your leadership and community service. So we want the most well-rounded student to matriculate into our program who will not only thrive, but also graduate and give back to the communities. So our interviews are Mondays and Thursdays. It's an all-day event for us, and our invitations are extended by telephone, and we'll either reach you by phone, but if we can't get you by phone, we'll email you. And keep in mind, with the fast pace and admissions, invitations can be issued any day from a day's notice up to 3 weeks. But we try to keep in mind that there are travel arrangements that need to be made, but we're completely flexible on your availability because we understand that your schedules are also jam-packed. So this is our interview day schedule. It's all day. You come in, you register, you have an admissions orientation, you have financial aid. We have a faculty interview, so it's an hour long. It's an open file, so they have everything that you've submitted via AADSAS. And then you get a school tour led by one of our students. You also have lunch with students to ask them the questions, because we feel that having the student interaction and getting to know our school from the student perspective is very, very vital to your decision. You'll also have a student interview, which is 30 minutes long, and they have your extracurricular activities and your personal statement. And then in the afternoon, we have a second part of the orientation. It's usually led by one of our associate deans or our department chairs to do a deeper dive on dentistry and more professional as well as curriculum-based questions. And then one of the admissions folks wraps up at 4 p.m. So why is it important for us to interview? Well, we want to see your communication skills, the cultural fit, of course, the interpersonal skills, and we want to see how that translates into your work with the patients in the clinic. And it's also a good way for us to gauge maturity, your teamwork, and how you'll be as a team player. So some interesting fun fact for you, for everyone on the call, is we poll or we survey our incoming students, and interview day is almost one of the top 10 reasons why students decide to attend Dugoni. It's non-pressure, it's not an interrogation, it's more to get to know you, it's conversational, and of course the questions that you ask are just as important as the answers that you provide. To give you folks a little bit more information and resources, SF Admissions at pacific.edu, our phone number. You can schedule on our website a school tour, one-on-one advising. admissions presentations on your campuses. But keep in mind, when you contact the admissions office, it's not meant for you to get a status on your application, but rather utilizing it as a way to get information and get to know the school a little bit more. You'll also be able to register for pre-download events and our admissions-related newsletter. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you all, and good luck. And on behalf of the Dugoni School of Dentistry, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. Rosa, are you on and do?
I am ready to go.
Okay.
I'm ready to go.
So I recognize everybody who's joining us that we are over by 1 minute. So Rosa, if you could just do a few minutes and then we will wrap up, that would be appreciated.
Absolutely. Okay, so the interview is a half-day event. It's a personal interview, and we are guided by a holistic. Thank you. I'm sorry. Can you? Is that okay, Emily? Can you hear me now? Something is going on. Okay. Oh boy.
All right, we might be having some technical difficulties. What we'll do for those of you who are interested in the rest of this presentation, we will append it to the recording and make it available. So thank you for joining the webinar. And special thank you to the representatives from the participating dental schools for sharing their collective wisdom. Applicants, if you've heard from a school today that interests you, don't forget that you can add additional dental school designations to your application after your initial submission. Log into your ADEA AADSAS application to apply. I am pleased to announce that ADEA will be hosting a second live webinar and interview tips on Wednesday, September 6th. The webinar will feature the presentations from these 7 dental schools. This does conclude the webinar. Thank you all for attending and best of luck.